Hi there, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You're about to watch a video live stream event that we held in August of 2020 with key players in the online MBA space. But before it starts, I just wanted to let you know that we have an incredible resource of information and analysis on online MBA programs, from rankings to profiles of individual schools to how much they cost to whether they require GMATs or GREs, and a wealth of other information to help you make a really good and smart decision about which program to pursue. If you want to avail yourself of all those resources, go to poetsandquants.com. In the nav bar, you'll see a little tab for online MBAs. Go there, or you can go direct to online/MBA/hub backspace at poetsandquants.com. We're looking forward to seeing you. Enjoy the video.
Hello, this is Nathan Allen from Poets and Quants. I am a staff writer at Poets and Quants, and I actually do the online MBA rankings. So a lot of these schools that you're learning about today have a love-hate relationship with me and the rankings process in general. I am here to lead the third panel of the day. It's an exciting panel. One of the reasons why I really like this panel is because we've got some established programs that have been around for a while, and then we've got some brand new programs. So I'm going to introduce the panelists, and then we're going to get right to it. So we've got Jody Farwell from the University of Washington Foster School of Business. She's the director of their hybrid MBA program. We've got Jim Parrish, the executive director of full-time and online graduate programs at Auburn University's Harbert College of Business. And then we've got Natalie Dillon, who's the Associate Director of Admissions, Recruitment, and Corporate Development at the University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management, and Jillian Melton, who is the Director of Professional MBA and Online MBA Admissions at Southern Methodist University's Cox School of Business. Welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Great. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Doing great, Nathan. Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to, for the purposes of organization, I'll try to direct questions in the same order that I introduced you. But I'm going to try to take a step back and let you all just go ahead and talk about your programs. So let's start easy and broad. We'll start with Jody from Washington Foster. Tell us a little bit about how this program got started, the background of it, the structure of it, as much as you want to share just generally about the history of the program and where you all are today.
You bet, absolutely. Yeah, our program is brand new to some degree. So we were started fall of 2017. We're starting our fourth cohort this fall. It's been an interesting development. So I came on board about a year ago, July of last year. So Tracy Godix, who was the original director, she and the faculty and we have a curriculum design team, instructional design team. They developed the program extensively. It takes us about 8 months to create a course. The courses are professionally developed. We have professionally shot videos, and the design of the program. And this is very deliberate, is that it's really not an online MBA program. It is a hybrid MBA program, and that was deliberate, right? Because we truly believe that it's that face-to-face content when we get together at the beginning of every quarter. So we have 3 to 4 day immersions at the beginning of every quarter, and we also have a lockstep program. So we're 6 quarters long. We take summers off. And we have 10 elective credits within our courses within our program. We're team-based, which also was very deliberate to have us be team-based. I think anybody who's in an online or hybrid format knows the value of teams, and especially in the kind of world we're at now with COVID. It's so important to be able to be virtual team skilled, and so that's something that's very important to our program.
Great.
Kind of answers it. You asked.
Yeah, and I want.
Can I
sorry,
just jump
go
in
ahead.
real quick? So you asked kind of how the program's kind of evolved. Let me just share with you real quickly. So in the year that I've been here at Foster, what I did my first 3 months was just listen and observe and gather data from all the students, faculty, staff. and try to identify where stress points were, or were there any indications for improvement. And the great thing about it is that what we've done is create, of course, more electives, work continuously on course development and improvement, added new electives, like I said. But we've also worked on developing a hybrid MBA mental health group. And I'm so glad we've done that, because not only are graduate students one of the most stressed group, but also, in this COVID situation, with all the stresses that we have going on there, I'm so glad that we've established that, so our students feel some sense of support during this time as well. So.
Totally. Yeah, that's super important now. I think everybody could benefit from some of that for sure. So next, let's move to Jim and Auburn. You all went online quite a while ago. So tell me about when that was, and then how you all have developed over the past, I think, decades now.
Yeah. So thank you, Nathan. And again, thank you for having us today and being a part of this with these other schools. We love being working with Poets and Quants, so we're excited to be here. But it's true, we've been in the space for a very long time. I think we go back to 1989 in terms of doing distance education. So I think depending on certain items you read or look at, we may be the second oldest established distance education for MBA. So in '89, we were mailing out VHS tapes. And so those were going out to our students. And as technology has evolved, so as how we've do our programming. But I would say that our program is, it's a great experience for our students. We provide a student experience that is similar to the on-campus students, but provides that flexible delivery that people are looking for. So the established program means we have a long time in the space to work on certain things. And so, in terms of current events, when some programs were changing to online, we had been constant for that period of time. So there wasn't much we really had to do to provide the content. So we kind of do a couple of modalities on how we deliver instruction. We do a lecture capture model for some of our coursework that we deliver to our online students. So the online students in that space do see the full-time professors. They have the same requirements. They have the same expectations as you would in the full-time program, but the flexibility is definitely there. We're also producing studio-driven content that's delivered for the online students. So the faculty are in a highly functioning and very state-of-the-art television studio where we'll produce content for our students. So if you're a student in our online program, you will see those different modalities. But a lot of our students talk about the flexibility of how they receive our program. They talk about the value add and definitely the ROI based on our price point and what we're doing in this space and the returns that come from being part of our online MBA. So our program is 39 credit hours. And so you can go through this program at a flexible pace at about 2.5 years. So we have been in the space a very long time, and we've been able to pivot and do certain things more fluidly because the foundation is very, very strong. So the Auburn and Harbert name is recognized in that online space as really being a leader in helping students achieve their goals for what they have set forth before them.
Right, thank you. Yeah, and I was alive in 1989 whenever the program was launched, but just barely. So next I want to hear from the University of Minnesota. Natalie, this program's also a pretty new one. So why don't you tell me about how you all launched and where you all are right now?
Yeah, definitely. We have a little bit of an interesting history, definitely not as long as 1989, but this is kind of our second iteration actually of an online MBA. So we dabbled in the space back in the mid 2010s with doing what was called a part-time distance program. And that was, of course, a modular part of our regular part-time program where students could take courses online at a distance, but through that same high, great, valued part-time MBA program that we offer. And then as the industry industry has changed, and many of my colleagues know this, is over the last 5 years, we've petitioned and moved that program away from being a part of the part-time program to be its own freestanding online MBA program. That has done a lot of good for our program, and the fact that we've been able to create a community for our online students, but they can also still come back and connect with our part-time, full-time, and our executive students. So it's created its own brand awareness and its own kind of a sister opportunity to be able to use the Carlson network as well as the resources that we have. I call it the sister program to the part-time program, and the fact that the two curriculums are almost identical. They're both a 52 credit program. They both have the same access of career services, same access in terms of networking. You have the same faculty across those programs, and similar to my colleagues, they're delivered in those great TV studio structure, content and course materials, but just of course, again, adding that flexibility of being able to opt in to take your courses from wherever you are in the world. With our curriculum, like many of my colleagues, we're gonna have a really great focus on the core courses. You can round out your business acumen, really gain that management and leadership experience. But one thing that really sets, I think, our online MBA apart is our specializations. We have a couple of them in particular because of our focus and location in the Twin Cities area, really well known for our CPG organizations and our medical industry, that you're going to find some really great elective options within that. So it's, I think, like a lot of my colleagues, you can have that great base, but be able to shape that MBA experience that you want to, and then able to, again, connect with your fellow colleagues or your alumni, again, wherever you are from the world. So we find that that's a really great value, especially for our students that are wanting to connect again with the Carlson network and use that Minnesota name to potentially get into a different career path or continue to accelerate, but also, you know, be able to do their degree in a different location at a distance as well.
Very cool, thank you. Jillian, same question except for Southern Methodist.
Yes, well, we also are kind of one of those new kids on the block. We launched our online MBA program just under 2 years ago, but we are actually celebrating our 100th anniversary of business education with the Cox School of Business. So we've been around a long time as a school, so certainly experts in the MBA space, and really happy to be able to launch this new modality through the online program. And similar to what some of my colleagues have mentioned, you know, the online MBA at SMU Cox is very similar in structure in terms of our other programs, you know, same faculty, same access to on-campus resources, both on campus as well as virtual, through things like our Career Management Center, different speaker series. But what really sets it apart, of course, is that flexibility. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure when we are launching the program is that we are keeping that very small class size and high touch. So each of our students, when they're taking their courses, each course they're taking will meet live each week for about 90 minutes in small class sessions of 15 students. So one of the things that we joke is that everybody in the online MBA program is certainly in the front row. You're getting that really good hands-on instruction from our professors, getting to know your classmates really well. We also feature 2 different immersions throughout the program. So students are able to take advantage of those, both global and domestic immersions, where they can get to know students and faculty a little bit more in depth, and then do consulting projects with local companies or local nonprofits. When we created the curriculum, I mentioned is very similar to some of our other programs on campus, but the 3 pillars that really we have organized our curriculum around are leadership and business analytics, and then that experiential learning piece. So those are 3 things, as I'm talking today, you guys will hear a lot about how those 3 areas really come together through the curriculum.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And I know a lot of our readers really care about looking at class profiles and the type of students that you all are admitting. But before we jump into that, I just want to remind the panelists here that you can type in any questions into the chat, and we'll try to get to those by the end. So if you have any specific questions that you want to be answered, just feel free to type those in. But let's go back around to the circle now, back to Jody. Tell me a little bit about the class profile, the class makeup at Washington Foster's hybrid MBA, how it was a few years ago whenever you first got going, and then how it is now.
Yeah, it's not much different than it was when it started. So it's mid-career working professionals with about 8 years of work experience. You know, our GMAT score averages around a 624, 3.4 GPA. We're lucky that we get 40% women in our program. We have 10% military, and hoping that goes up. We also have, 30% of our students hold advanced degrees, which is, super exceptional. They're an elite group of students. I think the one thing that I really love most about our program is that 40% of our students actually live outside of the state of Washington. So it creates for such a huge networking opportunity for the students, and then that just continues. I always kid around with my staff that my goal is to paint the United States purple, so that we get a student from every state. So
very cool. Okay, and Jim, the class now at Auburn, and how that might have been changing, how that's changed over the past 5 or so years.
Yeah, so great question. It's changed a lot, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years, and probably changed a lot in the last 5 months, based on kind of some things that we did. But our goal with our programs is to really focus on excellence and access. And so I would say if you looked at classes previously to fall 2020, we're increasing our Gmat average as our online program became a very desirable place for students to choose. And so you can see the Gmat average continue to go up and up and up as a more competitive student was choosing that program. In March, there was a lot of changes that took place in terms of students being able to get access to take a Gmat or a GRE. So we looked at implementing some emergency waivers because there were goals that students had, and we still wanted them to be able to achieve their goals. We looked at a lot of data. We looked at some things about students who were successful in our program with certain scores, and we also looked at some other qualitative data to make some decisions about where waivers would go into place. So our average Gmat did kind of hold true. There were just less submissions of those this year. So Gmat average was around 600 for the last academic year in the online MBA. The GPA was almost identical at about 3.3 coming in from undergraduate. And we also had about 6.5 years of work experience with our profile. So there's some interesting data to look at, and it will be great to comb through later in terms of this incoming class and the 185 that are starting this fall. Really kind of get a look at that and see what it looks like without that other data. I would say that we're well represented in the southeastern United States, knowing that our brand is really established there, but we're also expanding to the Pacific Northwest, the Northeast, and California, as a matter of fact. So I think the Harbert name, the Auburn brand, is growing in those different places. And so we're seeing different types of industry. We're working on partnerships with different companies and organizations where the Auburn MBA is the choice for their employees as an MBA. And so our profile is pretty steady. This year, it is a little bit different based on the number of GMATs that we do have subscribing, but I'm very excited about the class that's coming in because I think there's some opportunities that people took knowing that this was a year that there were some situations that were outside of their control, but they wanted to continue on and reach their goals they had set for themselves. So we set some of those reviews for the GMAT consideration.
Great, thank you. And Natalie, what's the class looking like now at Carlson?
Yeah, so online has, since it's rolled from part-time distance to online, has found a really unique spot in terms of profile between our other MBA formats. Currently, our online program sits really nicely between our part-time and our executive profile. So as you look at our average student, kind of our bread and butter area of work experience is about 7 to 12 years of work experience coming into the program. So sits right in that middle, as my colleagues have said, of middle level, work experience, possibly a middle level manager, maybe upper level manager that needs that flexibility for an online delivery. We also see a good chunk of our students come to the program that have previous education or master's degrees and are looking to add on that business acumen to move up into leadership and upper level management positions. Similar to Jim, we have had a Gmat GRE waiver process in place for quite a while that looks at a variety of different areas. So, we see a good chunk of Gmat and GRE scores come in, but it's not across all of our candidates. So I always use more of the work experience and average age in undergrad is much more of a view of the profile versus the Gmat or GRE. We sit really comfortably though at about a 620 Gmat score, again a 3.4 undergrad GPA, but really that work experience I think shows kind of the profile of this type of student we're seeing coming into the program. The other two parts of our online program that are extremely proud for us as a school is that we have an extremely high percentage of women. That our program actually is the highest percentage of the 4 MBA formats, so we're pushing almost 40% women in our program, and then we're almost at 18% military students. So we do have a really great partnership as well as wonderful network just with the military community, and we've seen that across our MBA platforms and formats. Exactly to also my colleagues' standpoint, kind of geography location-wise, we do see a good chunk of students coming from the Midwest region, Minnesota being our largest. So we usually see about 30% of our students coming from within the state. Our next largest chunks, though, come from the Midwest region of Illinois and Wisconsin, but we've also seen some larger growing pockets in the Western region as well as in the South. So currently you're seeing about a 50-50 split of students coming from the Midwest and 50% from other regions of the United States. The other part I really love is seeing kind of the mixture of what functional areas people are coming from. So we do see across all these different industries and sector, military, government, a lot of engineering background, a lot of medical industry background, but we're also seeing a good rise, especially in the tech and computer science area because of the analytics electives that we're offering as well. So really interesting kind of diverse group. So when you get into the classroom, you're not just learning from your faculty, but you're also going to learn from these other diverse students that you're having conversation with too.
Excellent, thank you. And Jillian, how is it looking now at Southern Methodist in the online MBA?
Yeah, so I think I'll echo, a lot of the similar comments that my colleagues have made. That's kind of the hard part of going number 4. So I won't go through all the same details. But one thing that I really want to point out too about SMU Cox that I think is so important to us, and similar to what my colleagues have said, is just the diversity of the class. And so one of the ways that we look at that is companies represented. And so we'll be starting we actually have 103 students starting this fall in the online MBA program, and we have 98 companies represented. And so that's something that we're immensely proud of because like we've talked about, you're going to be learning so much from your peers, from those small class sizes, from your groups, that you want to make sure that you're learning from people from different industries. And of course, a lot of our students are coming from Dallas and Texas. And Texas is a huge state, so it's no surprise, I think, to anybody that that's where the majority of our students come from. But we also have 19 states represented throughout the program and a couple individuals who are located overseas as well. So we're bringing lots of different perspectives. In terms of other areas of diversity, we do have students representing 4 branches of the military. Average age and years of work experience, it sounds like is going to be fairly similar to my colleagues, really in that mid-level career spot, so right around 8 years or so. And then in terms of academic background, GMAT, GRE score, again, it sounds like we're all fairly comparable, but I think one thing that we'd all agree on too is that we're really looking at that work experience and what you're going to be bringing to the class. And so one thing that I always want to tell students too is that, we don't have any magic computer that kind of like sifts through the applications. We're all reading your applications. We want to get to know candidates and know students. So it's really too about what your background is, what you're going to be bringing to the class, and then what you want to get out of it, because we are looking for a lot of different things in our MBA profile.
Right, thank you. And I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to put you to the front now, so you get a couple of questions at the front, and we'll reverse it. So Jody will have some time to think about some questions here instead of just having them go at her. But when you talk about looking at the whole application and the applicant, and residential full-time MBA programs, culture and fit are just really important. So I want to know how your school assesses those sorts of things, culture and fit, and goes beyond the numbers in the application. And also we have our first question from the Q&A. So this is kind of a 2-part question. So sorry to go with your first one first. It's 2 parts, but so there's that front end. And then can you talk a little bit about Gmat waivers and how your school handles any sort of Gmat waivers?
Sure. So the first question was really around culture and fit and how we're assessing that for applicants.
Yep.
So throughout the admissions process and the application, there's a couple of different things. You know, one I would really look at first is the essays. So we do have 2 essays in the application, and we're really looking to get to know candidates, who you authentically are, what your views are, what your goals are, to make sure that it aligns not only with an MBA curriculum and what an MBA education can bring you, but also that some of those aspects around community and leadership and helping others is really something that you value as a candidate as well. And then once you get to the interview stage, of course, that's something that we're going to be talking a lot about with you. We want to get to know what you're like in terms of teams, you know, how you interact in teams. Are you self-reflective? Are you learning from other people? Are you open to other opinions? Because we do want students who are going to come in certainly with a point of view, but also know that they have so much to learn from their classmates. So those are some of the things within the application process. You know, another thing that I always stress with candidates, and this is a reason why I love that we're here today with Poets and Quants, is that we want to get to know students through the application process. So whether that's attending events, whether that's talking with us on the phone or via email, I mean, we truly do want to get to know candidates throughout that process so that we can answer questions and tell you a lot about us and what we're looking for, and then also understand how you would fit that. In terms of the GMAT waiver process, so yes, SMU Cox for the online MBA program does have a GMAT and GRE waiver process for individuals that meet certain criteria. So that's all detailed on our website. Of course, now with COVID and so many testing centers being shut down and different testing criteria, we are extending GMAT and GRE waivers for all of our applicants for fall 2020, as well as the January 2021 cohort. And we'll be making those, we'll kind of be reassessing that situation as time goes on, if we're going to be extending that further into 2021.
Gotcha. Thank you. And thanks for going first this time.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for asking me to go first.
Okay. Natalie, same question. What's the culture like at Minnesota Carlson? What are you all trying to build? And how does that fit into assessing applicants?
Yeah, I think Jillian hit on a lot of the major themes that we're also looking for as well. That opportunity to be self-aware, knowing what you're kind of looking for with your career goals. How does that align with an MBA curriculum? And how does that align also with what the Carlson School can offer you through the online MBA program? So really, a lot of students always ask, do I need to have clear-cut goals of, you know, what my next step might be? And you don't have to, just giving us somewhat of an idea of, you know, what do you want to take advantage of in terms of the network or the specializations or the resources while you're in the program is what we're really looking for in that personal statement. And then again, we're also just looking that you have thought through what you are wanting to gain out of that community and that network. So how do you want to leverage those connections? How do you want to be a member of the community? Because I always say to candidates, this is also a lifelong experience. It's not just the time that you're in the program, but it's also when you're an alum and when you might come back for more career coaching as an alum. What does that look like and what does that mean? I think one other unique portion outside of the written essays that I might be a little bit different as an institution than my fellow colleagues is we do not do a required interview. We actually do a video question instead. So our computer database application actually automatically pick one of 20 typical kind of interview style questions you'd get in an MBA interview. You get 2 minutes to prep with that question. So you can write down your notes on a note card really quick, and then you get 2 minutes to respond to it. I really talk with students about this is your time to be having a coffee conversation with an admissions committee member. It's really showing that personality, showing who you are as an individual, because it gives us a good inside look of who you might be when we're on a Zoom meeting with our fellow classmates, you know, working on a project. So it gives us that good insight also in the delivery option where you're going to be seeing majority of your, you know, coursework and curriculum. In terms of GMAT GRE waivers, so very similarly, we've had a set process for quite a while that we're going to look at things like your previous academic record, your work experience, and then what are you doing that's quantitative or analytically focused in terms of your workplace. And obviously that looks really different depending on your industry or functional area. So it's just an extra process that you do prior to admissions. We'll give you feedback to say, yes, you can move forward without taking a GMAT or GRE, or a lot of the times, especially in the place of COVID-19 right now, we've kind of been starting starting to use a middle level decision. There's a couple other great resources that we'll have students just take to prep for the curriculum and then just provide that as an application material, or just saying we really would like to see a score. So we'll work with you on an individual basis. We've continued that same process through COVID-19. And what I really encourage for candidates that have questions, especially about testing, and as Jillian said, we want to get to know you. We want this to be a conversation. So reach out to us, schedule an appointment if you have questions about that. Don't be afraid to ask, and we'll give you full candidness of what we're trying to plan for as universities as we're all facing big changes coming up in the next year.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Jim, you're up.
Nathan, I don't know if you're ever going to go outside of the front, or am I going to have a first question? I'm trying to make myself prepared, but I'll answer this one right now.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, you're a wild card. I think it's a great topic right now because I believe my colleagues would agree that we're talking and having really good, strong conversations about next year's planning for admission, as this year is pretty much taken care of with the fall. But we're having some robust conversations with our admissions team about that personal statement and how important that is. I think we're even kind of tracking towards more of a professional statement. You know, business school is a professional school. It is something that is highly valued, and we want to make sure that you can tell us about, you know, a little bit about you, but also that professional nature of what you have in terms of how you're going to blend in with the incoming students. So I believe that professional statement that is part of your admissions packet is very important because it does separate you. It does tell us more of a story about you, and I would spend a great deal of time looking at that. In terms of culture and fit, obviously that's a major thing. We want to make sure it's a right fit for us, looking at you as a candidate, but it also has to be a right fit for you. There are all different types of programs out there, and we want to have a conversation with you to see what the right fit is. It may be a different program here in the Harbor College that we have. So like my colleagues, I would echo that having those relationships and establishing that information now is critical, because you need to know what's out there and what's available to you. So your research now, taking the time to have conversations with our admissions professionals and our team here at Auburn will be very appropriate as you kind of gather your list, doing your research, your due diligence, to make sure you find the right fit, not only from a school perspective, but also from a modality and delivery model, because there could be some other options at the school that you are looking at, and those conversations would yield that information. In terms of Gmat or GRE, again, I would echo what Natalie and Jillian said. We are keeping those in place because of the uncertainty of the world around us for our January 2021 intake. So our descriptions of what a waiver will qualify, or what will qualify you for a waiver rather, is on our website, and we're still finalizing the details for fall 2021 admission. So again, the conversations that can happen with the admissions teams at each university will open up some doors and open up some insights to kind of keep abreast of the changes, because as we all know, things are changing rapidly around us. But it's important to have those relationships, and those relationships will establish you and find out what the right fit is as you take the next steps.
Great, thank you. All right, Jody, how about Washington Foster?
Yeah, you bet. You know, I've only been here, like I said, for about a year. I have to tell you that my very first day on campus, I got to meet Frank Hodge, who's the dean of the Foster School of Business, and come to find out, he and I went to high school together in a small town in Moscow, Idaho.
Wow.
And I mean, it was such a blessing because I know the values and beliefs that Frank has. We grew up in, you know, the same culture. So it was really neat to be able to know that from the top down, that's the kind of culture we were going to have here at Foster. And I see that with my associate director, dean, and try to push that culture down through my staff as well. You know, same thing as everybody else. You know, we're looking for the same things in terms of the admission process. You know, I always tell the students when I'm interviewing them, you know, of course, we look holistically at them from an academic standpoint. You know, we're looking at, you know, what their goals are, what their career path has been, what they're progressing, how they're progressing within their career, you know, what their day-to-day responsibilities are, all those things, of course, just like you all are. But ultimately, at the end of the interview, what I'm really trying to assess is what kind of human being they are. are they the kind of human that, cares about the greater good? Are they here just to get an MBA for themselves? Are they really here to contribute to the cohort? And like Natalie said, this is a lifelong, experience. You're going to be part of us, as a family, for forever. And so we really look at that in terms of trying to assess the culture. That's the kind of students we want in here. Students that care, literally more about sustainability and, caring about the environment and caring, about making the world a better place and care about DEI issues. That's the kind of thing and that we're really looking for, especially given the kind of culture that we're in today. So yes, of course, all the other things too, but, and we're lucky too, as you guys had mentioned, as part of your admissions process, it's getting to know, Jillian mentioned this too, getting to know the student. It's my favorite thing. And I'm always so sad if, it doesn't work out and they don't become a student here, because I feel like I know them now, because we have, information sessions, and we have this thing called the Taste of Hybrid, which is like kind of a simulated Foster Live Zoom experience, so they can see what that's like. We have virtual open houses and alumni panels, so they can talk to the alumni and ask them questions. So we have all these events to try to really get them to know our program so well, so that the decision-making process is easy for them. They decide if it's a fit or not. We don't want there to be any unanswered questions when it comes to decision time. And so, so we get so invested, and my whole staff does the interviewing or participates in the virtual open houses or the career fairs and all this kind of things. And so it's really, and then they get an interview with me or someone else on my staff, my associate director or my student services manager. And so they know all of us by the time we get to decision time. And so it's this wonderful experience, like I think Jim mentioned too. The students have to be prepared if they come to the interview process and they haven't attended these events and they really haven't done their due diligence, then yeah, maybe they're not a student that's either ready for an MBA program or ready for our program. So absolutely. And then in terms of the GMAT thing, yes, we require the GMAT and GRE. This year we started accepting the executive assessment. I don't know if you guys have done that too. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I have pushed it hard, mainly because when we require the GMAT and students just see the dread on their face when I don't want to have to prep for it and all that. And I tell them about the EA and how it's really more of a business analysis test. It's not, you're not going to have to pull back trigonometry from 20 years ago, or vocabulary words that you're never going to use. It's just not that kind of test. So I'm so excited that we get to offer the executive assessment, and that was my associate dean that really pushed that for us. Yes, we do offer waivers, but this is the first time we've ever done that due to COVID. Generally, we do not offer waivers, and we, like Jim too, are still in the process of determining ongoing what the policy will be for us offering waivers. And it is, extensive business experience, maybe an advanced degree. Those are the kinds of things that we look at in terms of candidates we would offer a waiver to.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And so, one of the things that I think maybe a lot of people think about when deciding on an online MBA and MBA in general, advanced degree in general, is how to balance work, life, especially with the online MBA space. It's a little bit more progressed in careers, so there might be a little bit more responsibility, but also you've got families generally. So can you tell me a little bit about how you all advise your students, potential students, applicants on work-life balance, and if this is the time to pursue the online MBA in terms of stage of life? And I'll go back up and start with Jillian. We'll start with you.
Sure, thank you. So yes, I mean, I think that is a common conversation that we have with actually all of our students, not just in the online MBA program, but across all of our programs, because it is a big commitment in terms of investing in yourself, a huge time commitment, and it truly is a life-changing opportunity. So a couple of the things specifically on the online MBA program that we're talking about with students is one, do you have the support of your family and your friends? Do you have a good support system? And also kind of what are those plans for if you do find yourself getting stretched too thin? Or if you do have a work deadline that's coming up, for example, the same day as one of your finals, what is your plan going to be? And then working through them with some of their options. So I would say, at SMU Cox, our faculty members are really committed to helping our students and really understanding their needs and their challenges. And so we are constantly, reminding students to make sure that they're being really transparent with their faculty members. And that oftentimes our faculty members are able to work out some really unique solutions for how to balance that work and in class load. I also think just inherently the online MBA program is extremely flexible, right? You don't have to come to campus. You can take classes virtually. At SMU, even though we do have the live class sessions, all of them are also recorded, so that students can not only go back and access that if they wanted to rewatch something, but then also if they are, finding themselves in a difficult spot and aren't able to attend the live class, they have access to that as well. And then I think a huge part of the program is also relying on your teammates and working with your team. So again, at SMU with our small class sizes of 15 students, you do get to work really closely with other individuals. And that's where I think being able to collaborate with other classmates, working together on different group projects, studying together, and really facilitating and forming those strong bonds. One, not only help our students get through the curriculum and complete all of the tasks and assignments, but then also two, it really creates that community, that support system, so that if you are finding yourselves, really stressed out or having challenges, you have people that you can go to. So I would say, really one of the things that we focus a lot on is building that community so that students know that they have resources, that there's other individuals going through exactly what they're going through, and that we're always here to help them out.
Great, thank you. Natalie, how about at Minnesota Carlson? How do you all approach this conversation of work-life school balance?
Yeah, I always talk with candidates, especially on the front end of the admissions and recruiting process, about your life doesn't stop when you start an MBA. If anything, it probably continues to go faster, and we see more opportunities and more personal life things happen to our students as they enroll into a program. And that's where I really lean in on the front end of being prepared, having your network, but also know your options within the program that you're within. I was just working with two of our current students, actually, talking to them about major life changes that they had in the middle of COVID-19. One adding another family member with a young one to the family, and someone moving locations in the middle of the pandemic. And one thing that they were talking to me about was, of course, know your classmates, know your faculty members, but also they leaned into the structure of our program. So our program is set in a way that students can actually take courses. They're an 11-week and then a 4-week structure. So you can actually register for an 11-week class, take that from the beginning to about 3/4 through the semester, and then you end that class and actually start a full different class for the last 4 weeks of the semester. So the one student I was talking with that added a new family member to their family this year, because of the due date, they decided I am only going to take a 4-week class this semester. And next semester, I'll go back to my regular schedule and I'll take an 11-week and a 4-week. I had another student that said, I really wanted to front load my semester this year, so I took 2 11-week classes overlapping each other, and I didn't do the 4-week. So I think that's the other part, is really looking at what's the structure of the program you're looking at, what's the flexibility look like. I'm sure as many of my colleagues have different options as well. We also talk with students, it's okay to take a semester off or take a break. If you need to do a full standardized leave of absence, that's an option at most schools. For us, you can take a semester off and then just come back in the next term. And that's the great part, I think, is really looking and understanding what are the flexible options that are out there and what's the duration too of the program, whether it's cohorted, non-cohorted, all of those kind of larger key factors to the structure as well.
Great, thank you. All right, Jim, how about at Auburn?
I would say that, again, to echo what Natalie and Jillian have said, we've had some conversations with our incoming students and letting them know as they begin this journey is that, there's a great amount of trust that they're putting in us to help them get through this. And we want to tell them that we honor that trust. And I think helping them navigate the best path forward is one way of earning that trust. And so we have a great support network within our staff. Our student support services team are there to help you navigate the different things. Our faculty, since we've been in this space for so long, this is not the first time they've taught working adults that are family first, job second, and maybe school somewhere 2.5 there. But they understand the needs of working professionals that are also juggling families, because in that 6.5-year working experience window, there's a lot of life events going on at that time. So it's not just work, it's not just school, but everything else that they have to juggle. And so one of the things that we advise our students is the most difficult part of an online MBA is choosing to start. And so once you make that decision to start, it just becomes an extension of who you are. So there's some things that you have to reprioritize or juggle a little bit. But again, like Natalie was saying, we do have a 6-year window for you to complete your degree from the time that you start. So again, front loading, taking a semester off, adding some more courses, that's really up to you. But just know that our team is there to help you re-engage when you're ready. And also think it's important that you have conversations within your family. We have the Auburn family that we talk about here. And once you're a part of the Auburn family, our staff, our students, our alumni, they're going to help you. But your personal family needs to be aware, and everybody's on board. Because I promise you, it's not just you who's getting this degree. It'll be spouse, it'll be siblings, it'll be children that'll help you get through this. So have those conversations, making sure that everyone's on the same page, and understanding that there will be some things that have to be readjusted, reprioritized based on your investment of time and resources to get this degree. But I think ultimately that investment is going to pay off. You just have to kind of figure out what the right timing is for you and how you can work at different places. We talked to our students, and a similar question came up in our new student panel, and someone said, you can't be missed while the others in your house may be sleeping. So for him, they got up in the morning early while his children and spouse were still sleeping, and that was the time they committed to doing their schoolwork. So that worked for him. You may have to think about, what's the best time for me? Is it that early morning? Is it that evening? That's going to have to be established by each person to find that right fit. But I think it's important to start thinking about those things now, because as soon as you get to your curriculum and your coursework, you're going to need to find those times, because we all have those 24 hours, and how you prioritize those will help you and show your success for the program.
Great, thanks, Jim. Jody, work-life, school balance, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is my favorite question, funny enough, when I get asked this question, and I'm very passionate about it. My first day here at Foster, I ran into an alum and sat down with him and said, can you tell me, what was your greatest stress point in the program? And I'm, thinking I'm going to hear about the rigorous curriculum or the tough faculty, or, that, our program is designed a little bit differently than Natalie's and Jim. I'll get into that in a second. But, and he said, it was the pressure and that it put on my personal life. That was honestly the hardest part about it. And it kind of just took me back for a second. And I thought, okay, well, I want to make sure that our program doesn't add unnecessary stress to the students' lives, because it is. And now you add COVID on top of that. And this is just an unprecedented time for dealing with stress. And you add that graduate students, is the most stressful student population on top of that. So, we do things that are built inside our program that, such things, we provide our textbooks to them. They don't need to worry about that. We register them for their classes. We pair them with a team mentor. We specifically put them in deliberate teams together. They'll tell you over and over again that it's that team model that gets them through the program. Now, our program's different in terms of Natalie and Jim's, and I think it's important to notice this, is that we are not as flexible, if you want to use that word, as others. And for the student, some students, this is a good thing, right? This is the program this is how it differentiates us from you guys, is that we are a lockstep 2-year program. Once you're in the program, you are going to graduate in 2 years, the end period. Some students really like knowing that. They know, I'm going to be in this with my team. I know what classes I'm taking every quarter. I know I can plan for immersions. I know the dates at the beginning of every quarter. The only thing they have to choose at the end is their last 5 elective courses. But other than that, it's all laid out for them. There's not a lot of unknowns in terms of the program. So yeah, what happens when they have a baby coming, or they change jobs, or they have to move? The great thing about it is that because of that team support and the support they get from us on staff, they can say, hey, I'm to a teammates, I may be only given 90% this quarter, and next quarter I give 120. And you can just see the teams, they pull each other together to help each other, because they're in the same boat too. They know that, shoot, I got a baby coming next quarter. So, I'm so glad that I'm willing to take the extra load for you this quarter, because I'm going to need you next quarter. And then we also have career management. So if we have students that are stressed with work, or they've been furloughed, especially now because of COVID, our career management team jumps in and helps them with whatever they need. Job searching, beef up their LinkedIn, offer negotiation skills, all these kinds of things. So, throughout the entire process, where they might find a stress point, we want to make sure that that we're here for them. This is the other reason why we created our hybrid MBA mental health support group, because we want awareness that it's okay to be stressed, it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to share it. And there are resources within our program, as well as the University of Washington, to help with that, whether that, no matter what it is. And then I usually, I always, at the beginning of every fall quarter, I meet with, via Zoom, all the significant others of my students, wives, kids, dogs, cats, birds, rabbits, grandmas, you name it, friends, if they're there on Zoom, and just say, hey, this is me and this is my staff. And we're so glad that your loved one has joined our program and our family, and you've joined it too. And that, I understand that I'm taking them away for the next 6 quarters, but I will give them back, I promise. And so if you just be patient and understanding, and let me know if there's anything that I can do to help support our students. I want them to know my door is always open as well. So, this is I'm so passionate about this, because I do think that there's so much that we can do in terms of, providing this wonderful opportunity, life-changing opportunity, I think, as Natalie said, but do it in a way that doesn't add unnecessary stress to their lives.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. So we are getting to time right now, and I want to make sure everyone has opportunity in the breakout rooms to meet. So this is going to be the final question. Natalie, it's going to go to you first, just to give you a heads up. So one of the big draws about the full-time MBA program is the network, is meeting your classmates, alumni, and building up that network. So I want to know how you all have built opportunities to meet with not only your current classmates, but alumni, and how that structurally is built into your program, building out that network. Natalie, we'll start with you. Try to keep it around a minute or so.
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple different ways you can opt into this. One of them being, all of our faculty usually try to bring back an alumni to be at least 1 week of a speaker or so, and just to get someone that's gone through the program and see what their outcomes are. So that's pretty common trend in all of our online classes. The other big part that I will say that a lot of our students, and it's especially gotten easier actually with COVID-19, is as an online MBA student, you're actually a member of every single one of the student organizations at the Carlson School, and we have 22 recognized MBA clubs. They're all meeting virtually now. And before they used to have a lot more in-person meetings and then have people join online. They're now doing, virtual yoga. They're watching movies together. They just did something with Hamilton when that hit Disney Plus a couple of weeks ago. So we're just seeing, even a cool part is our online students are getting to meet full-time, part-time, and executive students through these clubs. So you're already expanding your network there as well. I think the final key feature that we're especially seeing students for connection, especially if you're talking about alums, is our Career Center services. Anytime you talk to any of our students, they get assigned a one-on-one career coach to sit down, have those conversations. Am I a career changer? Am I an accelerator? What industries do I need to research and explore more? And then they set you up with 12 coffee chat dates, whether it's via Zoom or at a coffee shop, to chat with people that have gone through this, maybe have shared some similar background and tendencies. And that's just a really cool experience that you're not just learning in the classroom from your classmates and from your faculty, but then you're also having these really eye-opening coffee conversations as well, which I think is a really unique part, especially of our career services too. So that's a great way to maximize your full network and that full experience too.
Great, thank you very much. Jim, how about at Auburn?
So with the online program, and obviously the network is very important, but I would say that that you're going to get out of this program as much as you put into it. And so there are opportunities that are elective options to engage with global immersions, with on-campus orientations, with coming to campus to attend classes, meet professors, and attend different events. And so it's really going to be up to you as the online student. The flexibility is great, but it's going to be, if you want to be more engaged with the full-time experience, you can do that. We've invested in a new resource called the War Eagle Way, which is part of our new online orientation course that all our new online students have come into. And that really has helped us make those connections out of the gate. You know, everyone is connecting virtually right now over the last 5 months. So the playing field's been a little bit equalized with the full-time and online program due to having some events that just have to take place virtually. So we're seeing students connect and seeing folks from different parts of the country that are wanting to engage in more of a group setup or social hour, coffee talk, those types of things. And that's happening because of our internal course. We've also invested in resources in our career services team to help students, because I think more and more employers are going to see the online MBA as a real strong option for their employees. And also I think you're going to see some more pivoting in your career than we have in the past. You know, in the past, an online MBA may have been moving up in one organization, but I think the new students are looking at pivoting to new places. And so that network connecting to our career services, and then those coaches that help you connect to our alumni, is one of the major reasons to choose Auburn. So we're excited about where this program is going, and we've made the investments to make sure the online students have that similar experience by connecting to our network.
Okay, and next we will go with Jody from Washington Foster.
Yeah.
How about networking there?
Same kinds of things that you guys have already mentioned. You know, we have structured regional treks where we go into company visits in key metropolitan areas, and our alumni invited to that. You know, we have an alumni mentorship where alum mentors our team. We also have an alumni ambassador program. So absolutely the same idea as you guys is, once you become a member of the family, we try to engage you as much. And you know, they spend, you know, time on Slack too, you know, trying to get together to do socials when we were allowed to do socials. So hopefully that day will come back again. But absolutely, you know, that networking, you know, and that's, we also try to have in the fall when we are able to see each other again. We host an MBA mixer with all the MBA programs at Foster, and that's just another way. You know, we invite alumni to that as well, and that's just another way to build the network. And like I think you've all said, you know, that's such a key part of the MBA process, is having that networking, so that they can, you know, like you said, not just move up within their company, but transition into other industries, into other locations within the country as well.
Great, thank you very much. And Jillian, how about at Southern Methodist?
Yeah, what a great question to end on, because SMU Cox is recognized consistently as one of the strongest alumni networks of any business school in the world. So this is something that we talk all day about, we focus a lot on. And when we talked about the importance of those community aspects earlier on in the panel, I mean, that's something that we're really looking for. Students that want to be active members in that community, engage with our alumni, and then as they become alumni, of course, are giving back to the community. So of course, activities like clubs, our speaker series. We also have a mentorship program that's open to all of our students, including our online MBA students. So it really is something that's a really key feature of the program for our students, as well as the rest of your life, because you will always be, you know, an alum of one of, I shouldn't say one of these programs, but whichever program you choose. So it is a really important part, and something I think that, you know, every MBA prospective candidate should really be looking a lot at. So thanks for that question.
Yeah, thank you, and thank all of you for taking the time and being with us. This was really great. I learned some stuff, as well today, and I'm sure the participants did as well. We're grateful for your time and grateful for you all virtually being here with us. So now I'm going to stop just a few minutes early so people have time to join the breakout rooms with you all. But again, we really appreciate your time, and stay safe and be healthy and all that stuff. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.